Welcome to Intuitive Astrology with Molly McCord. Thank you so much for joining me today as we're going to take a look at the major astrology of December 2025, which is going to bring a different focus of energies into your life and in your chart. We're going to see that this is a month of important soul-led choices, spiritually guided intentions. This is a time to allow yourself to move forward and move on while making high-level decisions that support where you're moving into in 2026. Now, 2026 is going to be a different year than 2025. In 2026, we're not going to have the outer planets moving back and forth between signs like we did this year. So in that way, it's going to be a calmer year, more solid energetically, perhaps even feeling as if you're more prepared because of what you went through this year that was moving you out of comfort zones. This year was requiring growth. You had to really make some big decisions, I bet, this year, understanding what stays, what goes, not only in your physical reality and your life, but within you. The universe has been requiring us to be more conscious and aware of what we're feeling, sensing, choosing, and creating. We're also not meant to go back to anything that has ended for us. We don't want to revert back to the old because we're in this powerful state of renewal and becoming, and that doesn't happen overnight. It's almost like holding the energy, honoring your own sacred space. Honoring your sacred space right now is essential. So that means you're not unconsciously going back to anything you've outgrown, you've completed, you've moved away from. We're in a place of trusting the void and the unknown, but that's where the magic is. That's where there's a lot of openness. And I feel that this void is essentially the miracle matrix, the place of pure possibilities and next level manifestations. So if you're feeling that you're very much in between worlds, you are right on time, because that is what we're meant to see. That is what we're meant to understand, is that we are choosing our next level manifestations. But part of that process is honoring the unknown and embracing our sacred space. December is going to be a month that you could feel like you're ready for what's new, but it's not here yet. It's not here. There is strong fire energy this month as the planets move through Sagittarius. We're going to feel that need to get going, get moving, discover more, trust that fire you're feeling internally. You could feel newly motivated, that you're being brought to a whole new level of existence with new passions rising and inspirations coming in to get your attention. You could also feel restless, like you've got to get out. You've got to go move. You've got to do something. The Sagittarius energy does not want to sit still. But something to keep in mind is that as we move through Sagittarius season, every planet in Sag is going to experience a square 3 times to planets and points in Pisces. The first will be a square to the North Node in Pisces at 13 degrees. Then to Saturn, now direct at 25 degrees of Pisces, and finally a square to Neptune at 29 degrees of Pisces. Neptune will be stationing direct this month on December 10th. So this means that Sagittarius enthusiasm and excitement, the desire to learn and grow and move into new territory, is going to meet up with the wisdom of your higher self 3 times. And your higher self is a gatekeeper of sorts. It's funny, I'm seeing it as the gate attendant at the airport that is checking to ensure your carry-on fits, that it's not too big, it's not too much. You can't take everything with you. There's a verification that you have the ticket for this flight, that everything is in order for you to board onto the next journey. And I'm seeing it as these 3 planets and points in Pisces are each telling you you've got to cut out more. You have to take less. You can't take this, you can't take that. But the message is coming from your higher self, perhaps the divine, archangels, whatever feels correct for you. But this is the Pisces energy dissolving and dwindling, and it's at odds with the Sagittarius energy that amplifies and expands. You can't take 3 ball gowns. You can take 1 pair of shorts. That's what this energy is. And a top. Yes, pack a top. So we have a discomfort here because we're being refined throughout the month of December. We are understanding what we have to continue to let go of and change. Now, the good news is that the mutable signs like change. The mutable signs being Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces. This month is dominated by mutable sign energy, including those 3 squares that I mentioned. And you're going to have to really think about what am I assuming and expecting that is not going to match with the next phase. And we don't know that at the beginning or in these transition periods. We don't know. Are you okay not knowing? The Pisces energy is, the Sagittarius energy is not. The Sagittarius energy, I know what to expect or what's going to happen. But when you open that up even more, you're okay not knowing. You're okay not having the answers, not needing to be correct, or not needing to demonstrate that you've got it figured out. So this is a month to be aware of the key words of expectations and assumptions. Expectations and assumptions are being challenged by the energies in Pisces. And these Piscean influences are asking you to surrender those assumptions and expectations. Who are you without them? Who are you without these expectations or assumptions or opinions? Who are you as you outgrow old belief systems and judgments? I feel that part of December is asking you to look at what has been holding you back from growing into a newer, higher version of yourself that embodies more of the Pisces qualities. The Piscean qualities of compassion, love, acceptance, peacefulness, detachment. We're moving into more levels of unity consciousness. So what is existing in each of us that's preventing this? What is preventing us? What judgments, opinions, righteousness, outdated belief systems are unknowingly holding you back from your next level growth? And you're going to see it this month because the universe is going to come through and reveal where there will be a need to surrender. There will be less. Things might disappear or dissolve, and there could even be a sense of relief. You might have a feeling of, I didn't even need that anyways. Why was I walking around with all that baggage? Or stuck in an old opinion or old belief system that I haven't really challenged. I've realized that I'm becoming more than what I expected of myself. And you might see that there are areas of your energy, of your mind, of your spirituality that are no longer an accurate representation of your soul growth journey. So your soul is leading you through December. And as it does, you might find there is more removal, lessening, and unraveling occurring that you could feel was already happening. But this month is where it really occurs. Now, the planets in Pisces and the North Node are important because they are the outermost planets. Saturn and Neptune, of course, have been in Pisces back and forth this year. And this is bringing up the final completions and those significant endings that need to happen. So Saturn and Neptune hold more weight. They are more influential. That's why they're dominant. And then we also bring in that North Node in Pisces that is revealing what is not a part of your soul-led path, what is not connected to your spiritual growth trajectory in this lifetime. The North Node is asking you to trust more. Trust the divine, trust your angels, trust your higher self. And I can hear some of you saying, Molly, I've been doing that all year. I've been trusting all year. And here's the thing. Trusting is now how we're living. It's more part of our daily navigation through the new earth energies. It's not something you turn off and turn on. It's not even something that is affecting your physical world experiences. It's just part of how we're going to be showing up and moving through the world. And December could give you some beautiful validations of that high level trust. You might have a sense of, yes, I knew it. I knew this would happen. I knew this would pay off. I knew I was supported. You could have a validation come through from the divine. You could have some very clear affirmations that trusting the process has led you to more beautiful outcomes. And I do hope that's one of the gifts here in December for you, that you feel validated by your higher self and by your soul based on everything you have learned in 2025, that ultimately only returned you to more of who you really are. The journey has been about a reunion with your soul and your higher self, how to embrace that energy and see it when it appears. So December can validate what you've been trusting and moving through, as well as feel like a beautiful spiritual reunion with your higher self and more of who you came here to be. So what is leaving this month, what you've got to shake off and release, is simply unraveling more of the false self, the excessive self, the energies of who you were or who you thought you had to be. And you could feel wildly free. You could just have a sense of feeling lighter, which is also validation of the new light codes and crystalline energy frequencies that you're holding. We are holding more light. We are the light. And this could be a month where you really feel it. Now, December is going to bring a focus to 3 areas of your chart where you have Pisces degree points. 13 degrees of Pisces, 25 and 29 degrees. The house or houses where you have these 3 degree points are where you are learning bigger spiritual lessons, closing out important soul chapters, clearing karma, trusting the void, allowing openings to occur where you don't know the answer yet. You don't have the information yet. So this could be a testing time where you're sitting in the unknown without reverting back to previous thoughts, assumptions, habits, routines, or levels of consciousness. It's sitting in the unknown so that the new frequencies can show up there and support you there. How capable are you of sitting in the unknown and simply breathing, allowing and existing without the ego having to fill it in with a bunch of distractions or making something happen or feeling like I've got to be in control of this? So it could be eye-opening to observe yourself and how you're really trusting your soul in the void and in this miracle matrix energy field. So Pisces areas of your chart are important this month, as it's where you continue to unravel and complete. Then the other area of your chart that's also active includes the Sagittarius degrees of 13, 25, and 29 degrees, because this is where each planet moving through Sagittarius is going to create a square to those 3 planets and points in Pisces. So this means the Sagittarius energies are where you're learning to embody a new belief system and to release what you've outgrown. You can't take it with you, and it could feel like there's a lot of changes happening against what you expected or assumed. But this is also an invitation into a new understanding of yourself, a new way of believing in yourself, in trusting who you are. Growth opportunities are important here, where you have Sagittarius energy. You're learning something new about who you are at this stage of your life, and perhaps really feeling a stronger understanding of what you're here to call in next. And because the Sagittarius energy amplifies, I'm going back to that visual of you can't take it with you. There's too much in your carry-on. There's too much you've got here. And so there's been a refinement underway throughout 2025, and December is going to bring that forward as well. Now, important to keep in mind that Neptune has been in this final degree of Pisces before. So this is probably not new at all, but it's the final extraction and letting go that will ultimately set you free. And you might feel more acceptance, that you're really okay with it. Yes, I can let this go. I'm okay with that leaving. I'm finally okay with this closure. So that's just part of the overarching themes here. Now, Saturn has been direct as of November 27th. So this helps us move along in the month as we understand the priorities, the necessities of life, what we need to get done and take care of. Anything that was delayed, pushed back, backtracked during November, especially the Mercury retrograde energies in November. Well, December begins with Saturn direct and Mercury direct, so you could have a renewal of focus and understanding this is what I've got to work on, this is what I've got to complete. Now, December often has a pressure with it, especially if things are related to year-end tasks or you want to finish it before you take off for the holidays. There's just always pressure in December to move things along. In Sagittarius season, we can bite off more than we can chew, and we can be overwhelmed by everything that's presenting itself. But I feel that there's going to be greater clarity around what really matters, especially as we get to the Gemini full moon on December 4th. The Gemini full moon is occurring at 13 degrees of Gemini, exactly squaring the nodes of fate. This can add to that pressure. It creates a mutable grand cross with the North Node in Pisces and the South Node in Virgo, all at 13 degrees. Because it's a full moon, that means the sun is at 13 degrees as well. This is a mutable grand cross that opens up a lot of choices, options, directions. What do I choose? What do I do? How do I focus? The Gemini full moon is very active. A lot is going on and flying around. You might not even keep track of all the notifications on your phone. But this is about making a higher choice. It actually requires calming down the mind, listening to what your intuition is saying, how to move with that, and honor the soul-led decision that is guiding you forward into a transition. And again, it's just one of the main themes of December. Where are you feeling guided outside of the mind? Where are you accessing all the messages inside of you, bringing them together in a cohesive manner, and then making a choice? This is important because we're living in a time that we're meant to break out of mind control, our own personal mind control, how the mind controls our lives, what we do, what we choose, where we go. And it's where we've become deeply disconnected from our intuition, our deeper source of wisdom. It's disconnected us from more of our true knowingness. So I feel that this Gemini full moon on December 4th, as active and busy as it's going to be, there could be something here where you understand, I need a moment of silence to listen. Listen to what is correct for me, what feels correct. Listen to what has deeply changed within me throughout November with that intense Mercury retrograde, reprogramming how we conceptualize ourselves, our choices, our lives. It's been a deeply transformative Mercury retrograde. So listen to what your soul is whispering around the best choice. When the full moon squares the nodes of fate like this, you're either choosing the higher path that sets you free, or you're moving back into a karmic cycle of obligations and shoulds. One is easier than the other. The South Node in Virgo represents a comfort zone. I've always done it this way. I'm good at this. I've excelled in this before. I'm going to choose this. But the universe is saying, actually, you're breaking that pattern. You're setting yourself free from those limitations that maybe you didn't know you had. Choose what feels correct. Allow that to move you forward. And that can be a big confusion here during this Gemini full moon. Now, I'll have a video on YouTube discussing the astrology chart of the Gemini full moon, going into more specifics for you. But just a heads up that there could be a lot of confusion here around December 4th. Now, on December 10th, Neptune stations direct at 29 degrees of Pisces. And now Neptune is going to move through its remaining time in Pisces until January 26, signifying big endings are here through the end of the year into January. Neptune in Pisces is clearing the slate once and all, final waves, final removals. Neptune has already been at 29 degrees of Pisces. But this is going to be a grand finale. This is where there's more that comes to light that's been hidden behind magic or glamour, false intentions, false narratives. Neptune is going to be removing the veil even more, the veil being thinner now than ever, so that once Neptune re-enters Aries and the new beginnings really come in strongly, we have a sense of, wow, I didn't see that. I didn't know that. I didn't realize all of that was being kept behind the scenes. There's going to be some important revelations as Neptune stations direct, because this Neptune is aware of what needs to come to light. So think of it as pulling back that final curtain so more can be seen. It is clear, raw, open, evident. It sets the stage for a new beginning. And part of Neptune stationing direct is that you might also be feeling and sensing that old dreams are falling away for you. Previous versions of your life are certainly ending, but they're not just ending, they're transitioning. They're transitioning into a new form, a new energetic experience that could feel really exciting. And this is a big part of what we've been moving through in 2025, because Neptune moved into Aries and then back into Pisces, giving us whispers and hints of the new. But it's been like a moving target. It's been something that we're like, okay, is this it? Maybe yes, maybe no, maybe I don't know. And so we've been in that ongoing experience of, I don't know. But we can sense with greater anticipation that we're closer to knowing. And I think that Neptune stationing direct December 10th is going to shift the energy, and you could just feel at peace. You could feel fine with something ending and being over. It's dragged on. It took longer than it needed to. It's not even important or essential. It's meant to be phased out. On the next day, on December 11th, Mercury clears his retrograde shadow, which is where Mercury then passes over 7 degrees of Sagittarius and enters into new territory that could feel like you're mentally set free. You're able to make progress. You're ready to move ahead, newly inspired and reset after that intense Mercury retrograde. Now, Mercury in Sagittarius is going to have a square to the nodes of fate, as I was just discussing. That energy is strong at the Gemini full moon, and then it's strong again the following week as Mercury squares the nodes of fate. And this is where, again, we're trusting your intuition, trusting what feels right, and it's not logical or rational. Maybe you're thinking, I don't know why I'm doing this. I just know it's where the energy is. Follow the energy frequency this month. Follow where you feel yourself rise and get excited and feel that lightness. It could be a brand new experience even within yourself. You could feel very different because of these ongoing mutable squares that are requiring you to lighten up, lighten the load, lighten the mind. Again, just an ongoing theme here of December. Now, we're going to move through the middle of the month, and then we're going to get to a big energy day around December 19th. December 19th is the Sagittarius New Moon at 28 degrees conjunct the Galactic Center. And at the same time, 3i Atlas is going to pass as close to the Earth as it can. So this is quite the galactic frequency shift, December 19th. That Sagittarius New Moon is bringing us into greater awareness of our belief systems, what we believe is possible in our solar system, in our universe, what we've believed about ourselves as human beings on the planet, and of course, what we subscribe to in terms of our own personal belief systems, opinions, worldview, and ideology. This feels like a very powerful galactic reset that expands us. Now, Sagittarius loves expansion and growth. And as this occurs with 3i Atlas getting closest to the Earth, as it will, there's going to be new frequencies that we're feeling that expand our auras, expand and affect our electromagnetic fields. This is where you could feel quite tired and exhausted, or newly rejuvenated, ready to go, almost like you're coming to life at a whole new level. I believe that the Three-Eye Atlas influence is significant, even though we don't fully understand it right now. We're figuring out the pieces. We're looking at the scientific evidence, putting together this puzzle that involves new materials, new information that's continuing to expand the story. It's being called an interstellar object because of how it changes speed. It speeds up and slows down, and it's being tracked very closely. Plus, it's been revealed that it's over 1 billion years old and seems to have a very intentional trajectory and direction. So again, it comes closest to the Earth around that Sagittarius New Moon conjunct the Galactic Center, and then right before the Capricorn solstice on December 21st. Now, the sun enters Capricorn at 10:03 a.m. Eastern Time on December 21st, and I'm feeling like these are going to be some power days. December 19th to December 21st, there's going to be big energies that we're feeling and sensing. There could be a lot of activity on the sun, solar flares, CMEs, more action, if you will, going on that's also being sent to our planet. And that means we're going to be feeling it. So I hope this helps you plan accordingly. You might even look back on the last week in October when Three-Eye Atlas was conjunct the sun at its perihelion to the sun. And if you were feeling any particular symptoms at that time, meaning you felt out of sorts and disoriented, tired, hungry, maybe energized and invigorated, and it might even be hard to recall what was coming up for you at that time. But I feel that as we move towards the Capricorn solstice, the energies are going to be amplified that support our ascension. We're going to have frequency shifts. You could feel more out of sorts, that you're not as grounded. So we have to be intentional then with our grounding practices, making sure we are resting, staying hydrated, eating grounding foods that support what our body needs. But what I'm feeling at a more metaphysical, energetic level is that these galactic influences are changing our own abilities, that it's opening up more within us to access and work with in a multidimensional state. I believe it's changing our experience of time. It's changing our visions, our capabilities, our psychic senses. You might feel that you're tapping into more visions that you don't know if they're from the future or from the past, or what you're even receiving from other timelines. I think that we're having some strong activations in our pituitary glands and pineal glands. It feels like dormant parts of our brain are also opening up because we're receiving a frequency match that's being transmitted off planet. And of course, simply trust if this resonates for you or not. But I believe this is a big part of our cosmic journey right now, that we are interacting with new frequencies that are permanently changing us. And the more conscious of it we are, the more aware, the more we're going to understand what's happening, perhaps feel that excitement and that joy of what is occurring, and less confusion and less disorientation. I think that the energy around the Sagittarius New Moon conjunct the Galactic Center, coinciding with this important Three-Eye Atlas energy, is going to bring in more cosmic messages. This can be really beneficial if you are looking to expand your channeling abilities, your telepathy skills, your intuitive guidance. You might even feel new spirit guides arriving that are connected to these incoming frequencies. See, our frequency has been so dense. That's part of being on Earth, being in the 3D, is that we hold more density. And then, of course, you bring in the density from unresolved karma, from emotional weight and unevolved aspects of ourselves unawakened aspects of ourselves. All of that keeps us quite dense and connected to the 3D, which serves its purpose, by the way. And I think it's important to be at a neutral viewpoint of what the 3D provides. I mean, we need it to be grounded here in gravity. But as we evolve and as we ascend, we create new relationships, energetic relationships with the 3D energies. And so I feel that in December, there could be some big events that support our ascension. There could be some significant world events around unity consciousness, around compassion and being in our heart spaces for ourselves and for one another, for honoring our unique soul growth paths. And this is important because everyone's on their own timeline. Everyone is on their own trajectory. It's not going to be the same as yours. It's not going to match up. And so going back to what I mentioned earlier in the podcast, where have you been holding opinions of others that maybe you're realizing, I can let this go. I don't need to view them in a certain way. I don't need to hold judgment. I don't need to understand them at all. I don't need to even know what they're doing. It's none of my business. My business is my own path, my own energy, my own ascension. How can you set yourself free from anything you've been holding or directing at another, consciously or unconsciously, that is no longer your concern? You don't have to be energetically connected to it. And this is where you set yourself free by seeing what those opinions, judgments, expectations, or assumptions have been. And I feel that this is part of a grand transition that we're moving through that could lead to some type of heart chakra vortex or portal that removes what has separated us. Whether there are big world changes, significant events, big shifts in world leaders, big changes in authorities and structures, that is all in play here in December and into January. I've been feeling it strongly that there are souls who are leaving at this time. They're no longer a frequency match for where we're going in 2026 and beyond. And it's in alignment with the endings and transitions on the planet. So, of course, I'm not about doom and gloom. I'm not about triggering fear or even focusing on a fear frequency. I don't believe that's what astrology is about. Astrology will meet you where you're at. If you're holding that frequency of everything's going to get worse and we're going to move into all this turmoil and you're focused on war and you're thinking you're going to be right and that's your righteousness coming forth, that's a very different frequency that's about the individual. Astrology meets you where you're at. So if you are at a higher frequency of seeing a bigger picture, of understanding that humanity is not here to keep going through ongoing cycles. We're meant to set ourselves free from the repetition and to ascend. We're meant to move on. Then you're going to experience astrological energies that meet you in those higher frequencies. And frankly, that's what I'm about. That's what I offer. That's what I want to give to you as a remembrance, perhaps, of what you are here to experience and what you're here to choose. We all have our choices to make. And when we're in the higher frequencies, we're choosing more love-based energies. We're choosing a higher path that could have fewer people on it, especially at first. And this is what makes you new earth guides, new earth leaders. We're venturing into new territory. This is a time to be a pioneer. And maybe this year really gave you some experiences of your own pioneering energy, since we had both Saturn and Neptune in Aries, opening up these new frequencies and pathways. So I hope that offers a bit of inspiration and direction to where we're headed, as well as the bigger picture of what unfolds in December is part of transitions, is part of the plan, if you will, that leads us into new earth frequencies. And it's important to remain detached as possible, if possible, without knowing or having it all figured out. Now, as the sun enters into Capricorn and each personal planet moves into Capricorn, they are then going to sextile these planets in Pisces, meaning they're going to be more supported, graceful, and guided in Capricorn as they sextile the North Node in Pisces, Saturn, and Neptune in Pisces. So what you extract and remove during Sagittarius season is going to lead you to greater focused intention in Capricorn season that could feel more masterful, stronger, more determined as well. So that's great news, because the Capricorn energies directly link to the soul purpose, the soul mastery, what you're here to do and experience on the planet. And I see the energy coming back into the body in a really powerful way where you just feel stronger around what matters and what doesn't, especially by year end. So that December 19th through 21st energy period is a transition at multiple levels, leads us into Capricorn season, and I feel is going to help us end this calendar year of 2025 with greater soul level maturity, higher perspectives, and new emerging goals as we move into 2026. Okay, you're not going to believe this. As I'm recording this podcast, there's a woodpecker right outside. A woodpecker very loudly working away. And a woodpecker holds the spiritual meaning of perseverance, determination, resilience, divine timing. It's also a messenger around the rhythms of life. So take it as you will, the energy and message of the woodpecker and what that means here as we end 2025. Now, I have to tell you just a really quick story. That reason number 1336 that I love being a parent is that I learn a lot that I wouldn't otherwise know through my son. And he is 10 years old. He's in 5th grade. And he had to do a country presentation around a country that he was assigned. And I would like to share with you all that I learned something important. Ethiopia, his country to research, is the only modern country that has a 13-month calendar year. But the months are not equal. It's 12 months of 30 days and then a 13th month of 5 or 6 days. And because of this calendar system, Ethiopia is in a different calendar year than we are. They're in 2018 by their calendar calculations. I guess there's other countries that also use a different calendar. They don't use a Gregorian calendar like we do, but it's just for more religious purposes, such as Egypt. Egypt also has a different calendar, but it's not part of their national calendar. So yeah, Ethiopia's calendar is 7 to 8 years behind our calendar. And basically, I'm offering this to you because not only are we closing out our Gregorian calendar of 12 months, but if you are ever on Jeopardy, I hope this is your daily double answer and that you score big because of it. So on that note, if you also need preparation and understanding for what's ahead in 2026, check out my 2026 Soul Growth Astrology program that I make for you so you can see your own astrology in the year ahead. It's a great way to track the transits, the upcoming Venus retrograde in Scorpio and Libra, the Mercury retrogrades in water signs, the eclipses, and what's going to be occurring in your chart with 4 eclipses in 4 different astrology signs. We're going to have our first eclipse in Aquarius, then an eclipse in Virgo, an eclipse in Leo, and then an eclipse in Pisces. What a dynamic lineup of eclipses. Also, that means they're happening in the 4 elements. Each element is having an eclipse. So get a heads up on all of that, what to understand, what to look at in your chart, plus, of course, how the planets are moving ahead in 2026. As Neptune and Saturn have their conjunction in Aries, and Jupiter will move into Leo in July. And you can access the full program with coupon code NEW and get it for a great deal, and then come back to it throughout the year and reference it. So I hope this supports you in your 2026 energies and themes. As always, I appreciate your time, energy, and presence for this podcast. And a heads up, I'm going to be changing the format. The podcast is going to be changing in December, so I will be sharing with you more of what that will be. And of course, you will experience it through your subscription to this show. Wishing you a beautiful journey through December. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you back here for our next episode. Take good care.